public safety when they came.
Lieutenant Colonel Mike Foster Brown, the new commanding officer at Warwick Camp, describes his organization as Bermuda's insurance policy, which can be relied upon during a man-made or natural disaster.
So long means that people take it for granted, but like any other insurance policy, when it's needed, people will want it and they'll be grateful they had it.
Colonel Foster Brown, who recently served in the British Army in Afghanistan, is keen to point out the financial benefits to those in need of extra money to make ends meet.
So by the time you do a 2-week recruit camp, they can be getting $2,000, and then for the year, it's just shy of $5,000. So although it's part-time, I think that contribution to their financial burden is a useful and a significant one. We have a boat troop, which provides routine support. We have a guns and assault pioneer platoon who do light engineering works. There are other tasks such as medics, clerks.
The colonel denies that the regiment is a place where people are ruthlessly broken down and spat out.
Our aim isn't to break people down. Our aim is to build them up. But from the raw material that we have, it's not our intention to turn anyone into a gibbering wreck and then reconstruct them in our image. We want to work with what we're given, build people up, develop them, and it's in everyone's interest that soldiers who come in are as quickly as possible turned into efficient members of the team, which is what the regiment is.
Colonel, the regiment's budget, is no secret, has been cut significantly in recent years. How has it impacted your operations?
The budget is $6.9 million, there or thereabouts at the moment. As back in 0809, in real terms, it was closer to 12 million. So that's been a relatively significant drop. And for the regiment, that's meant that we've had to look closely at our level of activity, which is the number of training days that we provide for people. Having been involved in the National Security Review recently, I can say that I think we have efficient numbers, and we have sufficient amounts of training to carry out the broad range of operational tasks that we have.
But the colonel is concerned about the ramifications if his budget is cut any further. He also does not shy away from the criticism leveled by Larry Marshall Sr., the leader of Bermudians Against the Draft, who recently called the regiment's $300 incentive to sign up, quote, a joke.
Well, the $300 is not as high as I would like.
As you said.
It's what I can afford, and it's better than nothing. It allows me an opportunity to talk about the fact that we actively want volunteers, that we're not simply filling our ranks with people from the draft.
Government employee Magnus Hannegolf caused a public stir last week when, among other recommendations to the Sage Commission, he portrayed the regiment as defenseless, called for the regiment to be abolished, its equipment liquidated, and for a national youth program to be set up in its place. However, Colonel Foster Brown insists Mr. Hannegolf's award-winning submission should be put into context.
The particular individual that you refer to is not unknown to the regiment, and in fact was a conscientious objector during the time of his service. So he did not actually serve in the regiment, even though he was obliged to, which I think slightly colours what his recommendations were. To use an analogy, it might be rather like asking someone who'd had a brush with the police what his view of the police was. You might not necessarily get a completely objective view. But interestingly, looking through what he suggested, almost every single role that the regiment currently carries out now, he didn't have any objection to that. He was parceling off those responsibilities to other people. So he was talking about having more people in the police. He was talking about turning over Warwick Camp to a youth organisation. And interestingly, bearing in mind his objections to compulsory service in the military, he was including a compulsory element of that youth development program.
Tari Trott reporting for ZBM News 9.